Technical.
Good evening, Keeps Up the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and joining me as always, we have Steve the Voice White. How you doing, Steve?
Good evening, everybody.
And of course, we got our guest, our man of the hour, Magic Lasso. We'll get to him in a second. First, we're going to bring on our mystery guest here. And mystery guest, if you're ready to reveal yourself, who you are, and who will be my other co-host.
John, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
He knew it.
I did.
John, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Absolutely my pleasure. Ryan's one of my favorite people. So, yes, I'm happy to be here.
Right back at you.
You have no idea how much I had to pay him to say that, Ryan.
Well, I see that he's in an undisclosed location because that's not the normal backdrop.
This week. That's how much it cost me.
Yeah.
Of course, our guest of the hour, Ryan. We're going to make him big. Now, Ryan, as we like to do, sir, and we'll stop busting balls in a second. Give the quick 2 minutes of who you are, what your channel's about, and we'll go say hi to the crowd after, then come back to you for your first book, sir.
Okay, so before I tell you who I am, I'm going to tell you what happened to me today and how excited I am to really be here. And I think you'll truly understand this when I get to the end. So today we started out with a rainstorm that turned into a snowstorm that made driving a little bit more difficult. But I still ventured out to the grocery store deli because on Tuesdays they have one of my favorite things in the deli. And I thought, even though the roads are bad, I'm going to go out and get it. I get all the way there. They didn't even offer it today.
Oh.
And I came home and okay, but let me tell you the true thing that happened today. I'm 2 hours into working, and I work in customer service. And someone I work with, she's kind of my work wife because I work with her pretty frequently. We know each other very well. Well, she opens up a drawer today, and she pulls out, I thought it was a tube of lipstick, but she thought it was perfume because it had a little spray on it. But I had never seen this in this cabinet drawer before. She pulls it out, and it's perfume. So she does a little puff, and she's like, oh. So I kind of lean in, and then next thing you know, we both look at each other and realized she pepper sprayed both of us.
I was just going to ask if it was pepper spray.
Just now, this was 8 hours ago, just now it's starting to leave the back of my throat, which is why you'll see me still consume a lot of water in today's show. But not even pepper spray will keep me from coming on the show. So you guys truly, and the chat, are the best part of my day. Thank you for having me on here. I've been a comic book collector since I was just a little bitty guy. And my collection is mostly Marvel, DC, Bronze Age. I haven't met a Bronze Age comic book I didn't like. Not to say that I still don't buy or enjoy current or modern things as well. But I've been heavily influenced from the products and TV shows, superhero related, from Underoos to Super Friends, all the way to modern things, seeing a resurgence of superheroes. So in 2 minutes, essentially, that's who I am in my collection.
And man, I am a child of the Bronze Age. I love the Bronze Age. I will basically, if you give me any Bronze Age book, I'll read through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
How did you not?
My favorite era of cover art too.
Yeah.
Didn't the pepper spray have like a warning label on the?
No, it looked like it. To me, it looked like lipstick. It's supposed to be one of those disguise things to protect someone.
Right.
And I'm like, you pepper sprayed me.
Well, at least
I started calling her I called her the mad sprayer for the rest of the day. So we are both in this little back room. Of course, there's customers out there. We have tears coming out of us. We're coughing nonstop. The phone starts ringing. I just pointed her. I pointed her and I go, I can't even get a word out. The customers are looking at us like we're on drugs. And but did that stop? So I never want to hear a guest say that they can't make it on your show unless it's been worse than pepper spray.
Right.
Anything pepper spray or down, I have set the bar much higher now.
I think John canceled on me once because he had a boo-boo and a Band-Aid.
I did.
Oh,
I
boy.
got a hangnail. I got a hangnail
Hangnail.
right there. It was on the
Right.
pinky. It really hurt.
Let's go say hi to our chat real quick, and then we'll come
Mhm.
back. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. We got Jerry the Jitterbug. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Jerry.
One of my all-time favorite people is Jerry.
He's a Wonder Woman fan too.
I got
Las
tears
Cruces,
already.
James, good evening, sir. A great channel supporter. Also a great channel supporter. Kevin, how you doing tonight, sir? We have Ruby. How you doing, man? Ruby Guzman. Nice to see you, buddy. Always great to see him. And we also have Mark stopping by from Legion of Comics
Oh,
to
hey,
say
Mark.
hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Enjoy that soccer game, buddy. Of course, our co-host Steve. John here, who was trolling you before you
Yeah.
knew it was him.
I texted John today too. I'm like, oh, I'm on the show tonight. He just replies back with like a little thumbs up, you
That was
know?
all I did.
He's like, yeah, I already know, you dummy.
Yeah, he was a last minute shoe in. And John was gracious enough to come in and help me out. So thank you, John.
Couldn't keep me away.
Comic Collectibles, good afternoon, sir. KBDM, good to see you. Naman, how you doing?
No, man.
Marcus, good evening, sir. Nice to see you. And don't forget, guys, after this show's done, to go over and catch Marcus on FOC and Chill. You guys can watch him there, and I'll be heading to work. The Immortal Biggie
Salute.
Shack, how you doing tonight, Biggie? Nice to see you, sir. NX7062, Stephanie K, nice to see you. Thank you
Hey,
for stopping by.
You know what? I was watching her channel last night. She is 1 subscriber away from 200. So if someone could do me a solid and sub up to her when the show gets done, man, I would appreciate that a lot.
I won't,
or a
because
few of
I
you
don't
would.
know her. So if you send me the link, I'll sub her
Yeah,
right away.
awesome, great, because I'd love to see her hit 200.
And maybe we can get her on the show.
I don't know how much
Okay.
of a comic fan she is. She's more Star Trek, but she does delve into pop and science fiction. So
Brad, how you doing tonight, sir? Well, that's what the other show's about, interviewing. Bobby Catalano, good to see you, Bobby. Thank you for coming in. Another great channel supporter. And you're going to hear me coughing too, because I just got over a cold last week and it hasn't left me fully. 23 months, nice to see you, sir. Carlito Classico, nice to see you. Raul, nice to see you, buddy. Thank you for stopping in. And she's saying, Ryan, that she has some comics.
she
all
does.
So-
She does. I know she does. So
excuse me, but I'll keep nodding to people as they come in.
okay.
And my little signature tip of the hat move. Just so all of you know, this is not a salute because you don't do that with your left hand. This is a tip of the hat.
Okay, tip of the hat.
I'm not military, so I don't salute. I think
No,
it would be
you're keeping it cash.
Yes. But Ryan, I'm excited, man, because I know your collection. You got great stuff. Let's start out
Thank
with
you.
your first book, sir.
So the very first thing, when you graciously asked me to come back on the show, I thought, you started in your mind going, what books do I want to show? And then I just started thinking about my collection as a whole. And I thought the very first thing that I want to present and put out on this show for my collection is a book that I don't know if other people feel like this, but I feel, especially for a modern age book, I feel so grateful to be able to own this book, because how many people truly got a JLA Avengers trade paperback?
Sweet.
Oh, nice.
Because this came shortly after George Perez passed away,
Right.
and the demand for this was so high,
Mm-hmm.
and there wasn't enough to meet the demand. So essentially, the story with this was I got mine for cover price. The story with this was, I tried some raffles and I donated to the Heroes Initiative, which I have no problem donating to a great cause like that. Just trying to win in a raffle, and I just didn't have any
Right.
luck. I talked to my LCS and they said, well, like everybody else, we're not getting as many as we had ordered. We don't know how we're going to get them. And I got an email a week before the book came out, and it just said, we're sorry, we just kind of did a random poll of everyone that wanted it, and you didn't make it. And I was okay with that. I was fine.
Heartbreaker.
Well, yeah, but that's fair,
Right.
So I kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'm not getting this book. And about 2 weeks after the book had been out, my LCS drops me an email and says, someone decided they didn't want theirs. Do you want it?
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
I said, yeah. They said, one condition, you can't resell it or put it on eBay. I said, done. I said, not only that, not only will I take it, I will make another donation to the Heroes Initiative for it.
That's cool.
Nice.
See, and now you got
So-
Wonder Woman. You said you didn't have Wonder Woman. There she is.
There's some Wonder Woman. So that's how I wanted to start out tonight, because I feel truly grateful. This is like a modern age grail almost, you know? But I truly feel grateful to own this.
I'll
It
say
also
now it's even
proves
more
that,
special because you had to wait and then you got the opportunity.
I really didn't think I was going to get it.
Yeah, but it's
So-
also never say never, because you'd never know what the hell's going to happen. So you can't say that I'll
They've
never
done
own a
that
book.
for
You
me
don't know.
before. When everyone wanted that Batman Damned, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
selling out everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, here I am, because I'm just in my own little wonder bubble, and here I am going, oh, I think I'd be interested in reading this, or at least having a copy for my collection. And, you know, that's been gone. That's been gone 10 minutes after we opened, you know. And then I showed up a month later. It was in my pull bag. They said, we ended up finding another copy, and we knew you were interested. So cover price,
That's,
it was
and
yours.
that's a good LCS. My LCS,
Yes, it is.
that's the same for me. Like, I was, I didn't even know that was coming out. Now I missed out on it. And
Yep.
as soon as someone will cancel on something, it'll be in my folder. I'm like, you want it? I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So it's an hour and a half each way for me to get to this LCS, but that's why I go back to them.
Wow.
It's this great relationship. It hasn't always been an hour and a half away. It just currently is now. But it's that relationship. I trust them. I'm so happy with them and appreciative of them and the way that they treat me.
And it's hard to find a good LCS. Probably not as
Yeah.
much these days, but there was plenty of times where I got out of comics just because I hated where I had to get them from.
Yeah.
Just because the people were just such jerks.
Yeah, it's important.
That's a crazy
And they
book.
acted like you were lucky they were there. It's like, no, I'm giving you money. You're lucky I'm giving you money.
Exactly.
I just looked that book up on my comic shop. A 9.8 is going for $500.
Yeah.
Wow.
A 9.4, just
Yeah.
the raw book, $195.
Yeah.
Oof.
Jesus.
Yeah.
In that book, I know it's a modern book, but I've never seen it in person. I mean, because it just was that scarce.
I've never seen another one in person, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciative, and that's, I guess, a tone that I wanted to set for tonight with that book.
That's a great start, though.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Book number 2, Ryan.
Book number 2,
Great
please
start.
forgive me for being pretty I'm going to be asking for a few apologies in today's show. This is the beginning of it. Please forgive me for being so self-indulgent with my next book that I'm going to show. But you only get on the 10-1-1 so many times, and I didn't do it last time. And well, I want not that I had to do it. I wanted to do it tonight.
You can come on as much as you want. Like, people can reach out to
Oh
me.
my
And
God,
always
look at that.
There you go.
So for those that don't know, I wrote
Congrats.
this book. I wrote this. And you see, we got a signature series because somehow the author signed it for me.
Are you sure you
And-
signed it, though?
I am very sure I signed that.
Are you a
And-
sign on the inside or a sign on
No,
the
I'm right on the
outside?
bottom
Okay.
in some gold there.
I didn't know if you were like the old school guys, the Silver
No.
Age guys who only signed on the inside.
No, I like it on the cover because I like to show it off. So I learned so much, not only writing this book, but I learned so much about how to submit it, because this is the first book I ever submitted myself. I learned how to get a yellow label when you're the author or
Oh.
you're part of the creative team. I learned how to do that. Every book that I've signed, that I've been fortunate enough to sign of this, I always include a different Loretta Lynn song title as kind of the inscription.
Oh, that's cool.
And so no one has an autograph with the same song title on it because
Right,
she
it's
had
all
so many
one of
hit
one.
songs. Yeah. So with this one, I didn't do necessarily, I did a lyric from my favorite singer is a different country music singer, and her name is Barbara Mandrell, and she's been retired for a very long time.
She has.
But she was very famous in the early 1980s. And she had a song out that mentioned Loretta Lynn in the lyrics, and it says, "And Loretta can still really sing." And that's what I wrote on my inscription. And
Nice.
Loretta can still really sing. So it's kind of a nod to my favorite singer of all time. Not that I don't love Loretta, I sure do. And I've met her a few times, and she was so sweet to me. Basically, for those that also didn't know, this book came out. It was always planned to come out the first comic book release week in October, which is Country Music Month. Who knew that Loretta Lynn would pass away the day before
That was
the book
wild.
came out?
When I saw that news, I was shocked because I'd known that your book was coming, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of me asking for apologies in today's show. But
And Scott wants to know if you know who the first Magic Lasso Yellow Label recipient was.
I do. That is Scott himself.
There you go.
Comics Curing Cancer. He bid on it, and he just made my day. And I submitted this at the same time, but he was the first book I ever signed. Is the copy that he owns,
Nice.
and that's denoted. So, yeah.
That's
And thank you for doing that, Scott. That meant the world to me.
And Scott will be making his second appearance on this show soon as well.
Well, then he can show his copy.
Yes, he can.
See, I just took one of his 12 away. So,
Spec pick. No.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
No, but congrats on that. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I see. Yeah, cockbook cancer. So, yeah.
Well,
So, are we ready for the next book?
go ahead.
Or? Okay. Next book. This is an old book, no surprise, but it ties into an area of reading that I'm doing now. I have really gotten into Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Oh, cool.
And for those that have not given this series a lot of attention, it ages very well. I mean, there's some dated references in there, but when I say it ages well, I mean that the stories for me were very enjoyable reading these decades later. And I'm really working on about the first 130 issues, and I have a good chunk of them. There's maybe, 15 in that first 130 issues that I still need. None of the big keys. And these books, for the most part, there's a couple keys in there. Hey, Matt Spotty. There's a couple keys in there. Matt Spotty would like this. So
now, I used to be a major Spider-Man reader. Like when I got back into comics, I couldn't do I'm not doing Spider-Man again because he's in too many titles. There's a bunch of heroes I wasn't going to read again because I wasn't going to buy 7-8 titles a month that have them in it because I wouldn't be able to buy other things. But a lot of the times I liked what was going on in Web and Spectacular more than I liked than what was going on in Amazing. Like both of those are always under the radar, and I never understood why they didn't get the same integrity treatment as Amazing did, because there was some great writers and great artists on both of those books.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there were some long writing writers on and artists on there too. So you're getting consistency with your team.
Yeah.
These books are so affordable. And if you just want to read good stories or maybe interested in picking up an Omni to check it out, I can't recommend this enough. I also wanted to showcase this because, it would be easy for me to go back and kind of duplicate my first list that I did on this show. And certainly that's tempting to do. But I also thought that this shows a different side of me too. Because as much I love Spider-Man too. And I have a lot of Spider-Man different comic books. But this is the series that I just talked about this in a video last week on my channel. I got a whole bunch of these Spectacular Spider-Man from Edwin, the comic jabroni, in a mystery box he did. And this series reminds me of him. So you're not going to get me to cry this time, Gary. I cried last time I was on your show. And I started talking about Edwin. I thought, oh, Lord, I'm going to start crying again.
You set yourself your own trap.
Yeah, I did. But nope, I'm doing pretty good. But it does make me think of him.
The tarantula for the cover, too.
This is such a cool cover.
It is
a cool cover.
The Clarion storyline, which runs in the 20s, like 25 to 31 maybe, that is really good. When I was reading that, and I had never read it before until about a year and a half ago, when I started reading that, I was like, I couldn't wait to read the next issue to see what was going to happen. And here we are decades later.
So Candace, there's actually an ASM cover that's very similar to this one. That's not obviously his first appearance, but like there's some. So like I've been tricked sometimes, going like, wait a second, is this the one? No, that's not the one. This is the one.
Yeah.
And what's for most of us, John Romita Sr. is the all-time best Spider-Man artist. At least he is for me.
For me too.
But I think one of the unsung heroes that did a lot of Spider-Man was Sal Buscema.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, no one ever talks about his Spider-Man, and he did so much. And with Web, a lot of the inking done by Keith Williams, which was just spectacular. And like, there was some great creative teams on those titles.
I would like to ask the panel here, and those in the chat that would like to chime in. This is like a serious question for me. Okay, it's not a make it or break it if we're going to be friends question, but it is a serious question. This title. This title, do you file this under P or do you file this under S?
File it under P.
Under P.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peter Parker.
Okay. And John, where does this go?
I upset a lot of people. I organize my comics by character. I don't want to have to find Web of Spider-Man over there and Spider-Man's over there and Amazing Spider-Man's over there and Peter Parker's over. That drives me crazy. I have enough Spider-Man that it's just one short box. It's all going together.
So for me, this is a P. Okay. But every store I go to, CLZ, even though I know I can change it in CLZ, it's everyone puts it under the S's. So I'm trying to put it under the S's, but it feels wrong to me.
Right.
Well, and I think later they change the title of the book to just Spectacular Spider-Man, right? Like they took the Peter Parker part off. So at different times in the same numbering system, it had two different titles.
I like what Biggie said by banger level.
Now, see, John, they messed me up with that when they changed King Conan to Conan the King.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just kept it under King Conan.
Well, it's the same with X-Men becomes Uncanny. Now, what do you do? Do you
now under U or is it under X?
And I don't like any of that. I like all my X-Men books to be in the boxes together.
Or what about the people that, Uncanny starts at what is it in the 140s or what? Yeah. And then that's the beginning of one, and the other ones are X's.
Right.
And that's U's. I don't know.
Or what you can do is, like in that one, you could have Spider-Man and then you have Dash, Peter Parker's the Spectacular. So there'll always be Spider-Man as the start of the title, but then the rest is just hyphenated and behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what I do, like within the Spider-Man box, the ASM stuff is first and then blah, 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 all the way out. But I can't spread them out. I lose my brain when I'm like, wait, Web is way over there.
And
your OCD goes nuts.
Because characters like Red Sonja, which have like so many different series going at the same time, it's just Red Sonja long boxes. And I'll put I'll put 2017, 2019 Red Sonja Mark Russell run. I'll put the writer of the run on it. And I'll file it that way. And then I'll file the next series that came after that, right in the same box after that one. But it's tough. I mean, with the long running series, it's a little easier to separate them by letter. But when you're having characters that are having so many mini series, you got to come up with something.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. That took us on a tangent.
I tend to do that.
There's a whole show in there and cataloging your book.
How nerds organize their collectibles.
I was saying we didn't sound nerdy at all during that whole exchange.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Trust me,
you're wrong.
When you invite this on the show, it is full frontal nerdity.
And Luke agrees. Luke agrees with John.
Hey, Luke.
Whatever you do for you, my brother, it's all what works for you. You're the one that's got to live with it.
Exactly, right? And understand it, and your spouse has to figure it out too.
Right.
All right.
Number 4, sir.
I don't know if this would surprise someone that I chose this or not. It didn't surprise me.
Batman.
No, because you got a general love of books, so anything you're going to show us not really going to surprise me.
So this is Batman 291. First of all, we have this amazing cover that I do not think gets homaged enough.
And because Batman on that too.
Yeah, I would love to see an homage of this with Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery.
Yeah,
I would love that.
That would be
and
cool.
So for those that don't know, this is the first of a 4-part story arc. And essentially, Batman has been killed. And every villain wants to take credit for doing it because they're going to look like the badass for doing it. And so the villains have to go on trial to try to convince the jury that they're really the one who killed Batman.
That's
and in this issue, it's the testimony of the Catwoman.
They want that street cred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next issue is Riddler's testimony. The third issue is Lex Luthor's, and the fourth issue is the Joker's. And someone actually did die. Obviously, it wasn't the real Batman, but someone dressed up as Batman did die, and they did think that they were killing the real Batman. So a price was paid for this, but this story arc is so good, and this cover is so awesome that I didn't really even think about chopping this off of my list. Once this made it to the list, there was no.
It was
yeah, no
locked.
chop
In
it.
there. Excellent.
Yeah, it was locked. Yeah.
Tom King, do you hear out there, Tom King? Listen, homage this sucker, okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, put that a little closer to the screen for a second, Ryan. There you go. Yeah, that's
We can
that's
take
great.
it all in. Take it in. Take
Yeah.
it in.
Now, who's your favorite Bat villain, Ryan?
Catwoman, if she's a villain.
Yeah, she's in that gray area.
She is. Yeah, I like Catwoman.
What's your favorite suit for her? Because she's had a few different good ones.
This one, the purple and
The purple-
the purple dress.
the cape?
Yeah.
Yeah, with a cape. That's it. So I'm trying to get John interested in a Bat villain that he thinks that I made up but she's from the TV show, and her name is Signora Lola Lasagna. And John thinks that I made her up, but
I really do.
Ethel Merman played her on TV.
Yikes.
Yeah, and I think she's in the encyclopedia that I have of the Batman stuff, the lore.
Yeah. She had a priceless collection of parasols, so her and Penguin hung out a lot.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a match.
Yeah.
I know. Now you just need to bring back the Eggman, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw a great cosplayer as the Condiment King at the
Oh.
con I was at. He really killed it. He had he looked amazing. I had to take pictures with him.
There's Stephanie there. She's telling us which episode. Yep, season 3. Check it out.
With the Penguin.
Yeah.
Nice. And even though that was a campy show, some of those costumes were a bit risque for the women on that show.
They were.
Big time.
But they look at how true they stayed to the comic book. I mean, the Joker's
did.
costume looked like Joker of the
Yes,
comic book,
that's
you know?
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
Catwoman's was a little different, but
Yeah. Penguin looked great. Riddler,
yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
Batgirl looked fantastic.
yeah.
And I like that Cesar Romero refused to get rid of his mustache.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
He was like playing the apparently you don't know who I am card. All right, number 5, sir.
Okay, so before I show this book, you might remember on many of your comic books, there's a big banner on the Marvel books. It says, this comic book could be worth $2,500 to you.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember that?
Yeah.
Or the bicycle one.
Yeah,
A
or
bunch
the
of them have
bicycle.
those
one.
all
Bike.
across the
Bike.
top. Yep.
Yep.
Wonder
Okay,
who won
Steph-
that?
Well, I won it.
Oh,
No way.
I didn't win the grand prize, but I was a winner.
Sweet.
In
What'd you win?
25 words or less, I had to say who my favorite Marvel superhero was and why. And I remember picking Spider-Woman and saying, I like Spider-Woman because she could fly. And so I won a year's subscription to a Marvel title of my pick. So, I mean, I won with Spider-Woman. So what title am I naturally going to get my free year's subscription to?
Avengers.
Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Yeah. I guess
love
I was
that
done
outfit.
with Spider-Woman when it came time for the choices because I said I want that Savage She-Hulk
Yeah,
for a
great
subscription.
title.
And I
And I
love
thi-
that run.
Yeah, me too. I got that whole thing. That's great.
Same here. And one of my favorite artists back in that day who was unsung on how much he added to that title, Mike Vosberg.
Absolutely. We talked about him last time I was on because he drew the
Oh, good.
Almighty Isis.
Yeah, he's so good. And he just
He
doesn't
is.
get enough credit for
No.
for the work he's done.
That's a great cover too.
This was the first comic I got in my subscription, the first time I ever had a comic book subscription. This is the actual copy. I need to upgrade it because there's some spine ticking going on over here and stuff.
Didn't they fold that in half on you and throw it in an envelope?
Luckily, they didn't for me. But I took Savage She-Hulk for a year, and then I think I was kind of just not as interested in the stories when we got to time to renew. And instead, because I was just brilliant thinking here as the little magic lasso, I said, nope, I'm going to My mom and dad said I could renew this. I would renew that, or I could get something else. I said, oh no, we're going to change. I'm going to get Dazzler because Dazzler came out bi-monthly. So a 12-issue subscription was a 2-year subscription.
Ooh, see, look at the money man thinking
Smart.
here. That's outside the box.
Very good.
See,
So
you and I have a lot of books in common because you already know I'm a big Dazzler fan.
Yeah.
I think I have her whole run almost twice over. Some of the books I have 3-4 times. I have the whole Spider-Woman run. I actually
I
have
do have that.
all
yeah.
the Jessica Drew runs.
Mm-hmm.
And the Maddie Franklin run is really underestimated. It was really good and dark. But the Savage She-Hulk. But the thing they all had in common is, the people who were putting them out didn't take them serious. So they kept changing creative teams, and the stories were varying quality.
Yeah.
Like those first 20, 23 Dazzlers are good, and then it's a
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Some are just horrid. Some are okay.
So I just posted on Instagram recently about this. I love, as impractical as it is, this ripped white shirt as her costume is my favorite She-Hulk costume. But someone explain to me, how is it ripped here? I don't understand that.
It's just perfect. Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay.
And of course, we're talking about Mike Vosberg, and you have a Michael Golden cover there.
Of course, yeah.
Well, we got that Comics Code Authority up in the corner, so they got to keep it PG.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, got
There you go.
Actually, comics.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Well, what I liked about that run too is it gave that was a heavy, serious run with all the pathos between her and her father, and her she was having trouble with her relationships, and just there was a lot, and that she was just reaching that breaking point where she was just tired of people challenging her, not believing in her all the time, and there's a lot that in that 25 issues.
Mm-hmm.
She had that love interest, Zapper, or wasn't that his name, Zapper?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I didn't read a ton of that run. I when I got to Burns Sensational, I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. This is what I needed.
Yeah.
You see, I like Savage She-Hulk better than Slapstick She-Hulk.
For me, it was just different.
I do too.
Versus this felt like them trying to do Hulk as a woman. And I felt like Sensational was like, we're going to tell a totally new comic book story. And I was like, okay, this is interesting.
But they were still figuring the character out here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
the thing is, I mean, most everyone knows this. The Incredible Hulk TV show was going on at this time. The Hulk TV show went to Marvel and said, we're going to make a female Hulk. And Marvel went, uh-oh, if they do that, they'll own the rights to that. So they rushed Savage She-Hulk #1 into production immediately so they could own the rights to it. And then the TV show realized they'd have to pay for that, and that's why it never happened.
Yeah, the rights for the Hulk universe have always been in a bit of a turmoil.
Mm-hmm. But doesn't this kind of remind you almost with the skeletons down there of like a Red Sonja-esque type cover?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got the man thing behind her like a beast, like Sonja would fight, and you have her. Yeah, it's a very Red Sonja-esque.
Yeah.
And you could tell like that first issue was kind of rushed because I'm a huge John Buscema fan, being a Conan guy. But his art in that first issue is not anywhere near his best work. That is very rushed work. Like that art in that issue, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Vosberg steals the show in this series.
Yeah, for sure. So.
Yeah. John, I can't believe you never read it for only being a 25-issue series.
I've read the first 5. That's it. I bought in a lot the whole first 5 issues of Savage Dragon from somebody way before they even announced they were going to do a show with her. And I got a steal of it, and I slabbed issue 1 after I'd read it, and then I sold 2 through 5, and it paid. By that point, they had announced the show, and it paid for the whole lot of books.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like basically I got a free Savage She-Hulk 1.
Wow. Yeah,
But I mean, I enjoyed them. It never clicked the same way for me as Sensational did.
Yeah, and I mean the era at that time where they were figuring out their female heroes, because I'm a big Carol Danvers fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love that original Miss Marvel series is fantastic.
Yes, Claremont.
Yeah, and that second series, Miss Marvel, the 50 issue one when she had the lightning suit. I love that one. That 50 issue
not
one
read
no
that
one
one.
talks about, and it's great.
I haven't read that either, but I want to.
And that Kelly Thompson run that just ended like the other year.
That was great.
She wrote that whole series, and it was amazing.
She's been on fire lately. I feel like Kelly Thompson's
and she advanced the character. She understood the relationships. So much happened in that advanced the character. It was awesome. I'm sorry, number 6, Ryan. We're going off on this.
All right. This comic book, as a little kid, just, oh my gosh. First of all, why are Flash and Batgirl dancing on the cover?
And she's given the sassy leg there.
Yeah. And then we get the promise here that someone is going to die in the issue.
I think it's the guy crying on the side of the book there. The gun aimed at him.
The Bizarro, yeah. So this is Flash 275, and spoiler, this is the death of Iris West. Oh. And this is what I love about this book. It takes a lot of things that happened in the issues before, really culminate in this issue, and then this sets the tone for so many things to come in the series. Like in the next issue, Iris is dead, and he goes to the Justice League saying, with your powers, you can bring her back. I know you can. And they're like, we can't do that. And he starts fighting them.
Wow.
You know, I mean, but it all happens. It's a superhero costume contest. So that's Iris dressed up as Batgirl on the cover. And, inside you see all the other people dressed up as superheroes, and Aquaman and Wonder Woman dancing together and stuff like that. And, but this story, we did this on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review earlier this year. And just because it's just a story that I always think about and go back to. And it's my favorite Flash story.
I'll say he could go back in time and save her too, the Flash.
Well, we know what happens when he goes back in time to...
Right. I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Yeah, Iris was not a good dancer. That's why she... Yeah, just gone.
Poor Iris.
There's this
character I don't know a ton about, actually, so...
So in the meantime, there's this girl, and this was in previous issues, named Melanie, and she got this major crush on the Flash, but she can control mind. She can control him. So she forces him to come to this hotel room, take off his mask so she can see what he looks like. And then she sees him and she's like, I'm not attracted to you. And she's so bummed out. Aww. And he's like, what's wrong with me? You know, even though he's a married man, he's still like, I didn't want her, but what was wrong with me?
Right.
You know, it's, hey, Cliff.
Cliff, what's up? Cliff?
It just, I love this story. It's just, this and the next several issues to follow are just.
I've read so little Wally West. I really need to go back and give that a shot.
This is Barry Allen.
Oh, that's Barry?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay, good. I feel better.
Yeah, Barry was with Iris.
The 80s is the Wally West.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my Flash.
Oh, Flashdance.
Most people, that seems to be like the Flash that they gravitated towards was the Wally.
That's true. Yeah. What a feeling. But yeah, this issue is just, I remember, this is not my original copy, but I remember getting this in the grocery store and seeing this book at the grocery store, and oh my gosh. And I didn't buy every issue of Flash, but this one I had to have.
Yeah, look at that cover though. That's
exactly.
Why. I mean, that's what grabs you, right? So
a cover's supposed to sell a book, and that's what this does.
And I miss that excitement, right? When you were a little kid and you'd walk into like a gas station or something with your parents and they had a spinner rack and you saw the comics. Yeah. And
then you start begging like a homeless man trying to get your money. To get that book. Yeah. Oh, please, I'll do the dishes for a month.
Yeah. It's still only 35 cents.
Right.
So yeah, that's
right. Awesome one.
Yep.
All right, number 7, sir.
Okay, I'm back to asking for forgiveness and apologies again. Okay.
No need.
I wanted to put this book on my list, and then I said, and once I show the book, you'll instantly know why. I thought to myself what I'm about to say. I want to put this book on my list, and then I said, don't put this book on the list. Don't stir up a bee's nest. Don't stir up a hornet's nest. And then, so I found a different issue from the series, maybe about 14, 15 issues earlier. And I said, well, this is good enough. And then I kept going, but I really want to show the other book. I don't want to show. I mean, this one's okay, and I like this one, but I really want to show the other book. And I pulled it, and I don't have any other choice now.
There you go.
Because I don't have another book.
And you built it up too much now, so you
I
have
have.
to show us, for crap's sakes.
It's not what happens to the character in this book that I condone.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now we can talk about Carol. Before, when you guys were talking about Carol, I'm like, oh, we'd be talking about Carol in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm
But
gonna say that you won the Toys R Us spree.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't win that.
Nope.
No. Some giraffe named Jeffrey did, I think.
And that is such a messed up story in that I have that issue because
It
I'm a
is.
Carol collector, but
So the reason that I picked this was really twofold, okay? I love the team at this time.
yes.
The team that's assembled, and even right before when Falcon was a member of this team, I just loved that era of Avengers is my favorite Avengers team. We have this amazing George Perez cover. And then it's a Carol-centric story, you know, that had been led up from about 3 issues prior, but really focused on this. And I love Carol, and Carol in the Black Lightning Bolt is my jam. But even as a little kid, and this is my original copy, I do have a nicer copy of this, but even as a little kid, I remember thinking to myself, why do they want to get rid of this character? I love this character.
Right.
Why do they want to get rid of her? And I mean, I was excited in one sense because it was the most I had seen Carol get, because I was too young to buy her own title off of a newsstand. So I knew her from the Avengers primarily. But I'm like, why do they want to get rid of her? And I thought, well, she'll be back in 2 or 3 issues, you know, and she wasn't. That's why I picked this tonight. It's not condoning what happens to her in any way or any sense. But despite everything, this is an important story in Avengers lore because they really did her wrong.
They did. Same thing like when they killed Spider-Woman off in her 50th
Yeah.
year, and they had to bring her back in the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sometimes they just really mess up with these characters, and you're like,
It's funny you say that you heard about her through Avengers. I heard about her through X-Men. Obviously, the whole binary storyline was where I first found Carol, and then later found her solo series, and then the Avengers came way later. So I didn't even hear. I don't think I've even actually ever read this issue. I just heard about it like through other stories when people were trying to like retcon and fix this mess. Like
it's worth a read just for the lore.
It is.
Right.
I also suggest if you read this, you read the Avengers Annual 10 afterwards.
Yeah.
Because that's the sequel that's the fixing of this story, or the attempted fix of this story.
Right. Claremont
Now, John,
kinda
when you were
fixed
talking
this
about
mess.
binary, for me, I was excited that Carol was back, but I wanted that Carol.
Yeah, that costume.
And that's not who she was anymore. And it took me a long time. I love binary now, but I have binary love.
That costume's amazing. And I loved, since we're talking about binary, I loved how Kelly Thompson brought the character back too. It was so good.
Yeah. I mean, but for me, binary was my first exposure, but I love this costume. This Ms. Marvel costume is fantastic with the sash all day.
Gore.
Which, John, do you know that her sash is actually the same thing that was her scarf in the original costume?
I did not know that.
That is her scarf from the original costume.
And from that 50 issue run, we're talking about the sash, that Michael Turner cover for issue 1. Just amazing.
Yeah.
But this issue was just wrong because it was someone who didn't understand. Like Carol's an alpha character.
That's why Jed McKay's running. She's running the team now in the new one.
Yeah. Look at how things have changed.
Yep.
So, Gary, has anyone ever shown this on the 1011 before?
No. Because
am I bad for showing this?
Not at all.
Why?
It's great Marvel history.
Comic history, dude.
Yeah, you like the book. It's
I own the book.
They like the character. It's pivotal for her.
And I'm a huge Carol Danvers fan. Look, we all, at some point in time, comics have treated all of our favorite characters in a really bad way.
If they're around long enough, it's guaranteed to happen.
Thank God for the multiverse so they can fix it.
Look at poor Joe Costa. No one even remembers her.
But if I run across this issue again, I'll buy it again because I'm a Carol person.
Yeah.
Off screen, we were talking about how Wonder Woman was done dirty in the 70s there with
We
the
were,
mod.
yeah.
Yep. I don't know if you
So-
saw, Gary. I actually got her first appearance at the con this weekend. I snagged my first Carol Danvers appearance.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
This
See, I
just,
still-
Nice.
just
I
Saturday
still
or
need
Sunday.
to get her very first appearance as Carol Danvers. That's still something I got to get at some point.
Yeah, that was the book I got. I got it this weekend. I was like pumped.
So I'll tell you something else with this book too, and I had some inner, anything that comes with this book always makes me stop and rethink things before I proceed. But when George Perez was doing his last CGC signing, which did not happen because he got too ill to do it,
right.
I said I have a nicer copy. I have like a fresh off, never been flipped through copy. And I did send it down, and that was going to get signed for me by George Perez. It was in CGC's possession, waiting for him to come to sign it.
Amazing. And too bad it didn't happen.
Yeah, luckily I do have his autograph on a Wonder Woman book, but I sent 2 books. This was one, and the other one that I showed the last time I was on the 1011, which was New Teen Titans 38, who is Donna Troy. Those were the 2 books that I sent that I was going to get signed.
And another character that isn't out there enough. Like, why doesn't Donna Troy have her own book?
Yeah, especially since, did you just read that Tales of the Teen Titans one-shot they did on her? It pretty much sets up her own solo book.
No,
so perfect.
One shot, I got to get it then.
Well, I mean, it's just a one-shot story, but it's a continuation title. Each issue focuses on a different Teen Titans member. But it is just a setup for her own series if there ever was one.
Yeah, because I love Donna Troy.
Then you would love that. You would love that story.
And I like that 4-issue miniseries that nobody read, where she came back and she was like,
Oh, yeah.
odds and stuff. That was so good.
Yeah. So.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, as long as I'm still permitted on the show and you're letting me continue, I guess this was okay to.
Well, now you can come back more.
I can come back more. Okay.
You can bring the other book that you were wanting to do.
There we go. So we started out, I showed a JLA Avengers as my very first thing. I've shown a solo Avengers. Well, I better show a solo JLA. This was a no-brainer when I thought, what JLA am I going to show? Last time I was on here, I was like, oh, I'm going to be Mr. Keyman, and I'm going to show you JLA #1, and I did. This time, I'm like, I'm going to show you probably my favorite JLA comic book of all time.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah, there's a.
This is 197. George Perez once again. This is the first of a 3-part. 195. I'm sorry, 195. First of a 3-part JLA JSA team up, introducing a new secret society of supervillains. This is the only time that these characters were ever the secret society of supervillains, and it killed me because this is my favorite secret society lineup ever. I mean, not only do we have the Debbie Domain Cheetah in there, we have Killer Frost, we have Floronic Man, Psycho Pirate, we got the Mist all the way over here, Ragdoll. I mean,
I've never seen this book before.
This
I haven't
issue.
either, John. Don't feel bad. But it reminds me of the Avengers cover with all their pictures when they're picking the new team.
Yeah. So essentially, in this portion of the 3-issue story arc, the secret society is gathering together or being grouped together as a group, and they decide they're going to go after targeted members of Earth 1 and Earth 2. And in this issue, if I remember correctly, I know Wonder Woman, I think Firestorm, Wonder Woman, and maybe Hourman, are the heroes that they take out right at the end. And then the next issue, they spend most of the issue taking out the rest of them, and then the 3rd issue kind of resolves that. But this cover, this incarnation of the villains, this is everything for me.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like a famous Marvel one that we know of too, eh? Days of Futures Past.
Oh yeah. You're very right.
41.
It is very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the trade dress at this time too for the Justice League.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
How many
Hollywood Squares?
How many issues are in that first volume of Justice League of America?
261 or 262.
Wow.
And in my collection, I'm down to like 27 or 28 that I need.
Wow.
Nice.
So I'm getting there.
Is number one of them?
No, I have one. I
Perfect.
have issue 1. So
You get the hard ones out of the way first.
yeah, exactly.
Right. All right.
So
Number 9, Ryan. Good book, sir.
thank you. Number 9. So you might have noticed I've kind of, for the most part, gone Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC. I'm kind of keeping up with that.
A little
And this was a book that I just went, out of all the books that I picked out tonight, this was the closest one to going on the chopping block. And then I just thought, no, I just want to talk about this book, and I just want to talk about this for a minute. If you notice from any of my collecting, I seem to like the team books a lot. And I don't know if that's because I get more characters, more bang for my buck, or whatever it could be. Fantastic Four. I want to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
So this era of Fantastic Four, and this is 182. This is my favorite era. I believe not this specific copy, but this issue was the first Fantastic Four comic book I've ever read in my life. I'm pretty sure that that's true.
Wow.
That's cool.
And I remember details. I remember being in a car at night trying to page through this when you would get under a light for a second where you could see
like a
something.
Quick read.
Yeah. And so I've always gravitated to this book, but on the very last page is a huge splash with the spoiler, or not the spoiler, but the cliffhanger of the issue. And that is Sue Storm has been thrown off the Baxter Building. And there she is, headed down. And that's how it ends. So the deal is, I don't have issue 183.
You don't know if it got resolved or not.
I still don't have issue 183.
Tell me you've at least read it.
I did page through it digitally.
Okay.
And I believe that as she's heading for the cement, someone is walking back to the Baxter Building, is like, that's Sue, and she's about to hit the pavement. Maybe I should catch her. And I think that that's how she gets saved. But I do need to get the next issue just because of that reason, I think. But
Right, Ruby? Right, Ruben?
yeah, she lives.
Don't ruin it for us, man.
Yeah.
See, I always Fantastic Four back in the day was so good. I love the Bronze Age era, and then I love the John Byrne era so good. And it was just some of the best reading you could do. It was just every issue was captivating. And Sue was always my favorite. She was my favorite single character, but the interaction between Ben and John was my favorite thing about the book.
Like, those two are a great pair.
Yeah.
What I would like to know from the panel and from the chat, who is your favorite Fantastic Four member that wasn't an OG, original member?
She-Hulk.
There it is.
Okay.
It's got to be She-Hulk.
That's a no-brainer.
Not even a question for me.
Steve, are you She-Hulk as well?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with She-Hulk.
I think it's She-Hulk, although I do like Crystal a lot. Right now, I'm kind of in the era when Medusa was a member. Like, I'm really drawn to those back issues right now. But
did Frankie ever become a full member? I can't remember now.
I don't think so. I think that she was just
dating
Johnny Squeeze.
Yeah.
She-Hulk, yeah.
There you go.
I've read so little of FF. I've read like the original 20-something issues. I read just a smattering of Byrne, and then I'm collecting the trades for the Hickman era, which I heard was great. I haven't gotten around to that either.
Same year, I haven't read any of it.
And again, you're showing that's one of my favorite era of covers too, when they kind of had it like a box.
Yes, I like that too.
And then I love that the art always broke the box.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know why. I just love it. All right, number 10, sir. We had Joe and Bub join us. Good evening.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah.
And Bub's also coming up this month too on the 1011 again.
Get your censor button ready. Who haven't I shown very much in my list?
I'm stunned. Is it?
Are we thinking team wise?
No.
I'm thinking X-Men, right?
Who do I love that I really haven't given a lot of attention to?
Diana Ross.
Close. Got the first name right.
Yeah, Diana Prince. Yeah.
Yeah. So What Wonder Woman comic book am I going to show? Because I'm going to show one. I mean, that's a given. But which one
Is
is it
it
going to
bondage
be?
cover? That's a question, right? Now that Bug's here, it might have to be a bondage cover.
I could switch because
I'm assuming it's a Bronze Age.
It
So
is
is it going to be a John Byrne? Is it going to be a Perez? Or is it going to be Adam Hughes?
none of the above.
Oh,
So I picked this because, as I said to the artist who drew this cover when I met him, I said, "This is my favorite cover of every comic book I own or have ever seen." And he looked at me and he said this. He said, "Why?" That's what he said to me.
That was my guess. Boland. No.
Joe Staton, Wonder Woman 246.
holy crap.
And he says, "Why?" And no one had ever asked me that question before. Why?
Right.
And what your answer
and
is?
I was kind of stunned because I didn't have an answer, but there's something about her sleeping and this mysterious figure reaching in to grab the tiara. There's something about that I've never seen before or since anything like this. The issue starts out with Diana Prince doing her laundry in her apartment basement, doing her washing her Wonder Woman costume. There's trouble in the elevator in the building. She hears screams, so she changes into the costume without her tiara and saves these people. There are like 2 or 3 different Bewitched references in this comic book, even though Bewitched was a rerun show long before this issue came out. Like the landlady's name is Mrs. Kravitz. And there's another Bewitched reference in there too.
That's cool.
So essentially what happens is the landlady gets possessed by this demon, this spirit, and wants the tiara and ends up getting the tiara.
Well, what I like about that cover is it has menace, right? She's sleeping. She doesn't know that there's something in the room with her. That there's an implied menace there.
There is. What I like about this cover is that it's signed by Joe Staton.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. Sweet.
So
nice.
Not 1, but 2 covers.
Oh, there's many more. This is the comic book that I buy whenever I see it.
Always the landlady.
I do want to get like a high grade 9698 of this.
I was surprised too, Gore, but we'll
Gore,
just have to deal with
describe
it.
Ryan, not me.
Although Boland was more Copper Age, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Brian Boland though is one of my favorite artists.
oh, I love Brian Boland. I do, but this was the second Wonder Woman comic book I ever owned.
Wow.
245, the previous issue was the first. I knew of her and had her in comic books from Super Friends and had no idea she had her own book.
All right. Can I ask this question? I want to know, like, what are like, I mean, 5 is a lot, but like, what are some of the top reasons why Wonder Woman for you? Like, what is it about that character or whatever?
I don't know. It comes.
What the heck?
It comes. She chose me. I didn't choose her. She chose me. And it's something. It's something about Super Friends. It's definitely something about Linda Carter.
I was going to say, if you didn't say Linda, I'm just going to say this.
There's definitely something.
You're going to call
copies do I
bullshit.
have?
So how many copies of that one do you have? They're asking.
Not crazy amount, like 4
More
or
than
5.
10, less than 100.
No, 4 or 5, something like that.
I can agree with you, Ryan, because I can't tell you why I'm such a big Jessica Drew fan or a Carol Danvers fan, and or Angelica Jones, Firestar. I just love these characters.
Miss Angelica
Like something
James.
about them, I just immediately attached to them, or Jennifer Walters. I just attached to them, and that was it. I've always read them.
Strong women characters.
I have the foreign edition of this, which the image is reversed. So she's sleeping on the other side, and then they had to take out the writing, the Steve.
Oh, it would have been backwards, yeah.
Because it would have been backwards. They had to delete that off. So I had the foreign edition cover of this too, and I tell you what, when I go, if they want to bury me with one comic book, this is the one. This is the one that I would reread for all eternity.
But if that happens, John, you have to homage that cover, and you have to be reaching into his casket with your hand to take the book out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's me putting it in when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He got
Cool
pepper
cover, though.
sprayed. He did the 10-1-1 and he died.
Right. And just my favorite, this is unpopular, I'm sure, but my favorite Bolin art is from Camelot 3000. Man, I love that series.
And I do have to stop for a second. NX7062 got my autograph on this comic book for me because I've met Joe Staten, but she got it for me before I ever met him.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Thank you to her for doing that for me.
Excellent. Everybody sub her up quick.
Yeah,
Sub her
please.
I already
Let's get her over the
subbed her up
200.
already.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
awesome.
did I.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for doing that.
I think I got her the 200 right away, and then Gary's
Awesome.
201.
Well, good. In case YouTube takes some away, she'll have spare.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I had never seen that cover before too, so that was nice to see.
No, neither have I.
Not a key at all. It's a one-issue story. Like you don't need to know what happened in the previous issue. It sets up the beginning of the next issue, but if you don't read the next issue, you're not lost.
I might go look for that at my LCS this week, so just so I can read it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Find out what all the hype's about.
Yeah. I've been looking for the original art for this. Cannot find it.
Wow.
I have found original art for every other issue in this time frame.
Except for
Literally every other issue but this one.
that. I wonder
So
why.
I'm like the only collector that's gone gaga over this cover. The other Wonder Woman collectors like, but either someone else is gaga over it, owns it, and is not giving it up, or it was destroyed.
Yeah. I'd kind of lean almost towards destroyed because
That's what I think
seems
too.
like a a plain Jane cover unless you're
I know Joe Staten doesn't have it and has no idea where it would be.
Wow.
So
Did he sell it? Did you know that much?
he looked at it and goes, I don't remember. He goes, I don't even really remember doing the cover.
Wow.
So
But that's not a surprise though. I mean, these artists do so many covers.
and this was so long ago. And like I said, he looked at it and said, why? Why do you like this?
What is wrong with you is what he really
Pretty
meant.
much is what he said.
Not why. What the hell's wrong with
Yeah.
you? Were you struck with something?
Don't you know I phoned that one in, Ryan?
Yeah. So this is it for me. This
That's
is my
the
all right.
book.
So that's it.
There's nothing. I mean, that's what this is about, right? The books that we're connected to.
Exactly.
I am
We all have them.
I am more connected with this book than anything else I ever could show you.
Nice.
That's cool. It's a
So
piece
the rest of the
your
show is a
soul.
downer, guys.
It is. This is my ride or die. This is my LTR.
It's a spec
I
book
love
too.
Yeah, I suspect that I'll buy another copy of it. You know?
You can say-
So
All right, now number 11 with a extended personal story attached.
you're like, that's 1 through 10. But
Ryan doesn't have other kinds of books.
exactly.
No, that's
So-
okay. That's
No,
why
I love that's
doing
what I
this
love
show.
about him.
That's
Is like
the
every
story.
book he has this great like narrative to go along with it. It's so fantastic.
Well, anyone can show the same books that I showed, but what makes it different is why I showed the book. So
Right.
what it means to me. So this next book was I just showed the book first.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
A little blurry there. There we go.
There it is.
So this is the final issue of All Star Comics, issue 74. It was part of the DC implosion. And why is this the extended story? When I was just a little kid, some of my first memories, there was this little drugstore. Remember, I lived in a town with no fast food, no stoplights, but there was 2 different places to buy comic books in town. And I was looking through a spinner rack where this store used to be. Right now, the building's abandoned. After they moved to another location, no business ever went into that building. So many times, even in my adulthood, I would stand looking in the windows outside of that building, and I can vaguely remember where things were, but I knew where that spinner rack, it was always right over there. And on the spinner rack was this All-Star, not this specific copy, but was All-Star Comics 74. And there she was.
She's right there.
And my parents said, and I don't fault them for this. This was awesome. This was a time to teach me about they said I could have the book, but do you need the book? It was one of those, let's teach you, not indulge you on every single thing that you want, but you can have it. I remember them saying, if you want it, you can have it. And I remember thinking, the answer is I shouldn't get this book. So I passed on it.
Ooh.
And it took me 25 years to find another copy after that.
Wow.
I couldn't find it.
Power Girl on it.
I was gonna say,
I couldn't find the book.
Is that Barda
this was
right behind her?
What's that?
Oh, that's Dr. Fate. Sorry. I was who's behind him?
There was no internet back then. I could not find this book. So I wish that this isn't the book I would have, because I spent decades from that little kid to wanting this book and never being able to find it. No one ever had this book. They had every issue before it, but they didn't have this one. So.
And such a fun cover too.
It is. And this is another Joe Staten who I just showed. So he did a recreation of this where he added Batman in on the cover. And he sells that as a print.
So. You don't need the Batman. Yeah.
Right. There's enough Batman.
Right. It's not an expensive book. It's $8.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. But I couldn't find it.
But it's funny though, some of the ones that we can't find that we want that we remember from kids, right? And it takes you forever. And then when you do find it, it's like you found gold. You're like, oh my gosh, can't wait to get home and read it. There's times I'll find something that I liked from back then. As soon as I get in my car, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna read it here. Not even gonna wait till I get home. We're cracking her.
Yeah, I do remember because I own 2 of these. The first one I found is lower grade than this. And I'm like, I don't care. I am buying it because I just want to read it. There was no internet then. I just wanted to read the story.
For sure.
And I do remember that feeling. So
it's only 103 on the census for CGC.
And then when you're a kid though, you have that regret, right? Because then you think about the book you didn't get to read.
I remember thinking I'll come back next time and I'll get this one. Oh, I went back next time. It wasn't there.
You got to play the patience game when it comes to comics.
Yeah. So
it'll come to you when it needs to come to you.
Right. Experience gain. That's right, Kelly.
That's that.
Yep. And back then, this was a 50-center too. I mean, they were 35 cents back then. So
yeah, you had to do some work for that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But I remember that. And I can't tell you how many times I've looked in that window of that business and at where that spinner rack stood, and this is the book that I see on that spinner rack. It's this book. It was on the very top shelf on the spinner rack too. It was on the top row.
That's cool.
So that's kind of my extended story on this one.
That's right. Good story. And we all had that book that we had to rechase again.
Yeah. So this was big chase, but worth it.
Mine was a lot easier. Mine was Conan 58.
58?
Yeah, the first Elite.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That whole my favorite read is Conan the Barbarian 58 through 100. That whole that 3-year span that Roy Thomas expanded Queen of the Black Coast into.
Nice.
Because in that one, because she was only ever in one story that he wrote, but he said they were together for 3 years. So Roy Thomas took that as like, they had sailed, had adventures, and I always loved it because, that was his one true love, and that always stuck with me as a kid. Conan's all this stuff, but that was his one true love, and nothing was ever going to top it. Not even when he got with Queen Zenobia. He liked her. Mm-hmm. He didn't love her like he loved Elite, though.
Yeah. Nice.
Right. All right. So I guess this brings us to your spec pick.
Oh, my spec pick. This one. I couldn't find it. I could not find this book, and I had been looking for this. I knew what my spec pick book was. I knew it. There was no other choice. I knew it, and then I couldn't find it.
Oh,
no.
I did not find it until This afternoon during lunch, I came home from work hoping to look somewhere else. And finally, I've been looking for days for my spec book.
Wow.
So my spec pick is a book, but it's not a book at the same time.
Oh my God.
I know Steve's like, oh, here goes the roller coaster again.
It's a book, but not a book.
My spec advice is don't get pepper sprayed.
Right?
Yeah.
My spec book is
Words to live by.
It'll ruin your day.
Okay, here's my spec book. Any book that's part of the Disney 100 series.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I think that these books will do something because you got the Disney fans, you got the Marvel fans. Now, so far I have
And you got the homage.
2 of these. Yeah, you got the homage. So I got 2 of these so far. I'm not saying I'm trying to get all of them, but I like these 2 and I have them so far. I think any of these Disney 100 books it's my pick as a spec. I think there's investment purposes here. I think these will go up. I think someday people will want these and want the entire set of them.
Sure.
Right.
Incidentally, there is one coming on in June. First of all, and these say Fantastic Four and Avengers. These are all Amazing Spider-Man books, by the way, because I think this is the only title that they're doing these covers on are Amazing Spider-Man books.
And it's confusing when you get them in and you go to put them up on this. And you're like, okay.
It says it on the back of the book, though.
Yeah, so I think this Fantastic Four homage is so awesome. I like this one too, but the FF. But the one that I'm truly excited about is coming out in June. It's Disney 100 for X-Men 130 with Minnie Mouse as Dazzler.
I'm definitely getting that.
It's coming out in June.
You had me at Dazzler. It was already done.
Yeah. But I think
That's how you do it.
Yep. I think any of these are a good spec right there.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, I think the only I think I have 2 of them. I got the Incredible Hulk one and one other one.
oh yeah, is it Goofy on Incredible Hulk one?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
So
yeah,
that, ladies and
that's the
gentlemen,
one I'll probably buy a couple of.
I actually think I'd kind of like to get a slab of the Minnie Mouse as Dazzler one. So, oh hi Drew. But that is my 10-1-1. Notice now this is the part where Gary says, "How come you didn't show any?"
Not at all. Yeah, I thought you showed great books.
I almost showed this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The
Marvel
magazine.
graphic novel.
Yeah, the graphic novel.
Dazzler, the movie.
I don't have that one yet. I need to get that
graphic
one.
novel. I've read it a handful of times. Not the best Dazzler. Like
Is it?
it's just okay.
But it sets up because that's where she gets outed as a mutant to the world.
Yes.
And that sets up a lot of future things in her title.
It does, and then that's when after that's when the relationship with her and the Beast starts, and then it goes into the 4-issue miniseries, Beauty and the Beast, and which I have the 4 individual issues, plus I have the hardcover of that too.
Yeah.
But I just remember like I wanted more out of that, especially with that great Sienkiewicz cover.
Mm-hmm.
Just but
He crushed it. Yeah.
So I hope I put something in there that might have surprised you that was in there. Of course, there's some predictable things in there, and you're always going to see a Wonder Woman in my list. You're probably always going to see a Justice League.
the surprise will probably be the Flash one.
The Flash, okay.
Yep, the Death of Iris West.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool picks, though.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Thank you. Great books. And thank you for coming on again.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me.
Oh, don't worry. You'll get asked to come on a 3rd time.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
Let's do like we normally do. Let's go around the horn here, see what everybody's got coming up. Steve?
Doing Voices Choices tomorrow for a new comic book day. I'll probably have some kind of unboxing for Friday. And then, of course, my G.I. Joes on Monday.
Nice.
That's what's going on with me.
Who's your favorite Joe or Cobra character?
Flint.
Flint. Why?
It's the beret, I think. I don't know.
He got to kiss Lady J. That's why.
There you go.
He gets Lady J. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. See, I like the Crimson Twins. There's something about them that I'm like.
Oh, Zaymot and Tomax. Yeah,
Tomax
those
and
guys
Zaymot,
are cool.
Yeah. And
John, what's coming up for you, sir?
I'm on vacation, so I wasn't even planning to do anything, but then this opportunity came up and I was like, yes, I am diving right in. So I'm chilling until maybe my usual Saturday morning show, probably this coming Saturday is probably the next thing I'm doing. And then I'm not doing Omni X-Men tonight. We're off. So it's next Tuesday will be our next Omni show.
Nice. And coming up for me in 2 nights' time, we have Cliff back in the hot seat with the usual suspects for his second in the hot seat.
Cliff
Cool.
is so good. He's so entertaining.
Yep. Next week we have Entropy in Comics. We got Kevin on the 9th doing his 10-1-1, his first one.
That'll be fun.
And then we have silver-haired Bronze Age Babe doing her first in the hot seat on the 11th.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And then we got a bunch coming up, rounding out the month. We're going to have Hoarder's Hide on. Marco coming back. We got Bubs coming on. We got Comic Mag Musings coming on again as well. So we got a stacked month coming up with some great personalities.
Fantastic.
And, Ryan, what's coming up for you, sir?
So today I dropped a new video. It's my weekly edited video, comic book editions. In the video today, I showed actually a lot of books from last year and a couple early Bronze Age JLAs. You see a lot of Bronze Age books or titles like I showed today or in my last appearance here on my channel in my comic book editions. I do a back issue of the week YouTube short. It's 60 seconds just talking about a back issue in my collection, kind of what happens in the story. I did Godzilla to tie in with the movie that's out. The Godzilla, I only have like 2 choices for Godzilla, but I did the old Bronze Age Godzilla, the issue that gets started the Champions. So that's currently on there. But every week I haven't missed a week, and I'm 119 weeks
nice
into this. So I've been doing this for a while and really enjoy that. I've got some awesome stuff planned for my channel. I was telling you before the show started that I kind of collected. My collection was kind of in 2 different locations. It's about 95% all together in one space now, and it's just getting sorted. And once I get some stuff sorted out, I've got some plans for the future. 1K is the goal. I thank everyone who has subscribed to me, and anyone that might subscribe to me in the future. Certainly appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much. And as much as I love the comic books, I truly love the friendships in this community even more than the books, because the books are great, but the friends are better.
Right. And the fact that you get to talk about those books with people is
with people who understand.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm very appreciative of everyone.
So first, I want to thank you, Ryan, for coming on. Thank you so much. Another great show. I mean, I've had you on the channel 3 times. Every time it's been a spectacular time with you. So thank you so much.
Oh, let me interject one more thing, because I see Signature King's in here. He's one of my fanboys that we do the Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. So we have that show coming up this Sunday night. We do it live. And let me say this. For our Retro Review, you knew it was going to come eventually. And eventually is going to be this Sunday. Even the fanboys, it's my pick. And even the fanboys don't know yet what we're reading. And let me just say, you knew it was going to happen, and it's happening.
Ooh.
All right.
Cool.
And Tony's saying everyone turn.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. And Steve, thank you as always, sir, for being on. And John, you're always welcome on the show. All you ever have to do is mention you want to come on as a co-host, and you got a link. Always a pleasure having you.
I got my mystery question mark ready now. My Riddler question mark.
Yeah.
And I still have 1 spot left in April. I'm hoping John will fill for me, so we'll see about that after.
Yes.
The 25th. But I want to thank the audience. We had a great audience tonight. We had a great chat. We had some new faces, so thank you to all the new faces that came out and tuned into the show. Mm-hmm. Part of the pleasure of doing this show is interacting with you guys, and you guys enjoying the stories that the guests are saying about the books. Nothing about this show, guys, is about value. It's about personal value, not monetary value. It's about why we love books, why books connect us to each other, why we're connected to reading, and why the stories are important and why they've kept us in the hobby. And that's what this show will always be about. It is not about value in the monetary sense in any way. So thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone. And as I like to end these things, keep it casual.